Hey everyone. I still want to have ideally like a couple weeks turnaround for my 450 subscriber special and 3 weeks at the most for my first Horizon review, but again, and my joint pain and fatigue just really don't want to leave, it seems. Rest assured, I'm doing the best for what I'm given, so with that in mind, here are my reaction and thoughts on this month's Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. Haste, don't expect a full one will be until next month at least. Haste, and after the Pokemon Presents at the end of the month. So, with that in mind, there's actually a lot of stuff in here that actually sounds pretty interesting, so let's get to it. First off, Orbitals. More information on a narrative adventure inspired by old school science fiction anime. Especially reminds me of the works of the late great Leiji Matsumoto. And just a thing for Kepler, her coming off the acclaim and success of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Hey, I definitely will be keeping an eye on this one on when it debuts in summer, and as usual, I will be mentioning the release date or window of each game mentioned here. So let's continue. So this year, Captain Tsubasa 2 World Fighters. It's the sequel to the last Captain Tsubasa game based on the hit anime and manga franchise, and has potential, I would say. What also has that is Paranormal Sites, The Mermaid's Curse. Again, I know I want to go in order for the announcement, but got mixed up a bit. That is coming on February 19th, and the idea of a visual novel and another story where you depict mermaids as menacing rather than helpful is definitely something that could prove to be a surprise. Not going to lie there. Okay, so Tokyo Scramble, February 11th. I am honestly skeptical of a survival horror game where you can't actually fight against the enemies that are attacking you. Ooh, but we'll see how this goes. Especially since it's already reminding me a little bit of Code Violet, which is already not the best first impression, I would say. A Especially someone who actually had to post community notes for developers of that, claiming that audiences are enjoying the game more than critics. Nope, they're actually only a little bit less, as they often do. And this year, to the Switch to Valheim, I heard very good things about this game on other platforms, being a survival game and with a heavy emphasis on influence from Norse mythology. A, I will definitely see how this goes once we have a more concrete release date, so to speak. Alright, following the acclaim and success of Silk Song finally coming out, tie us over until the expansion releases. Hopefully, it won't take another 8 years to release. The original Hollow Knight is getting a Switch 2 version and complete with a free upgrade for those who have the original already on the base Switch. It's just a thought. It's okay to like both the independent roguelikes and all the flashy kart racers. If I'm being completely honest, I mean, one thing I am definitely noticing in this presentation and the whole console ecosystem of theirs is the variety it has. As not quite as consistent as the first party stuff, but still appeal to players of all ages, backgrounds, and skill levels, so to speak. Alright, so summer football kickoff, the replacement of sorts, or it's for the previous long-running Winning Eleven and slash Pro Evolution Soccer games, and I'm loath to call it a spiritual successor. Or I'm personally going to pull a yellow card on this until it releases, since eFootball 2022, ooh, I have not forgotten that disaster, and I don't think other fans have either. Mm. Adventures of Elliot, Millennium Tales, June 18th. More HE2D RPGs from Square Enix sound good to me. It's definitely relieving whenever they actually put out a game which actually has thought and effort put into it, as opposed to yet another live service will probably go dark or before it makes an impact, or anything to do with the schemes around cryptocurrency or AI. But I'm not going to dwell on that. So let's continue. Super Bomberman Collection, which also features games coming to the United States for the first time. The only previous came out on the Famicom and Super Famicom. The digital version of the game's out now. The physical version of the game will be coming out in August. I will probably wait for the latter, as someone who is a big Bomberman fan, and definitely the more and more years go by between the failed X-Zero experiment, as well as equally disastrous attempts to defend it, it's the more I appreciate the little chibi-fied high bomber. I even have a soft spot for the Dyna Blaster variant, which released in Europe and the UK initially. Not going to get too much detail, but if you look up the troubles of that time, you'll know what I'm talking about, why they changed it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to the Switch 2, and presumably other platforms. Now the time exclusivity on PlayStation is up on June 3rd. I did indeed try the demo for Intergrade Aid fairly recently, and it definitely did a solid job in portable mode. Which, as the voice samples sound great, and it just covers like the initial bombing mission on the first reactor, and even with discourse about what will actually happen for the third and final installment in this remake trilogy, I still maintain they've done a good job of building upon the ideas that the original game had, also putting a new spin on them, which is like the ideal thing for any good remake to do, to not only appeal to people like me who are big fans of the original, but also attract a whole new generation who never even played in them before. And of course, they did still have like the activity of like the low poly boxing match as from the other versions, a little nod to the original game. Nice. Fragmata coming to Switch 2 as well as other formats on April 24th. It's not connected to Mega Man per se, but it's new IP with similar ideas that does hold intrigue, especially in its approach to machines and how they use to explore humanity, as well as should be a creative action title on its own merits. And given how they don't mention the Star Wars collection in this at all, they at least have the sense of a breathing room between their other games, I still would maintain personally I would have enjoyed both that and Battle Network had the opposite approach. Like, Battle Network should have been the more grounded take on cybercrime, whereas Star Force should have embraced the creative license it takes with that kind of science and basically gone all in on the camp instead. Turok Origins Fall. It's been way too long since we had a new Turok game. I'm certainly keeping an eye on this one as a fan of the past installments. The third game on the 64 17 plus classics would be cool too. I might even check out Night Dive's remaster of the original trilogy. He has done a fantastic job of making sure everyone's favorite dinosaur hunter could really shine. I still maintain that the last game reboot they tried in 2000s wasn't bad. It was just kind of average, which, as we all know, oh, a bad game's least memorable. But an average game can fade in the background when it's been released in a sea of great ones. Hold that thought for when and I address as high guard, since the drama seems to be cooling off. Well, give it one week just to be safe at least. I mean, another game coming out in the summer, Kyoto Xanadu, which admittedly has potential. I mean, as a revisionist take on what their homeland's like, as well as a role-playing game on its own. I mean, there's obvious titles to be interested in, as well as we have a couple other anime infused games to address. That's real quick. Digimon Story Time Stranger, July 10th, so one of my wildcard bets has paid off. I mean, it may have hit 1 million sales on PC, PlayStation, Xbox formats combined. However, this will be the real litmus test against NZA, which just sold 12 million in Nintendo's ecosystem alone. And I'm not going to be picking it up right away. Hey, I'm still holding out for a sale. I did indeed make good on my intent because for the price of the one copy of it on PS5, which they actually ended up raising to $100 given all these trade shenanigans, I did indeed get its Tekken 8, Spider-Man 2, and 3 of the best Yakuza games ahead of their delisting. So there's that. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok, July 9th. I have not played the others, so I have nothing to add here, so let's just jump to the next one of Monster Hunter Stories 3, Twisted Reflection, coming out March 13th. Time will tell if the third time is the charm for Monster Hunter Stories, which the first two games sold decently, though not as huge numbers as some other recent installments. I personally still would prefer a complete version of World or Wilds on Switch 2, and I still dislike the quote-unquote Monsty term, which further muddies the waters about who the target audience even is for this game. I will say what I do like: more updates for Arcade Archives and a new sister imprint, Console Archives from Hamster Corporation, and which features Rave Racer, a Doraemon Famicom game. This cat from the future is everybody's beloved and recognized in Japan as, say, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny are here. Sonic Wings, Cool Borders, Ninja Gaiden 2 for Famicom. Those last couple are already out now, and there'll be more to come. Could have sworn I saw a Monster Rancher game in there with the Everett Chipper Mochi, no doubt named for the rice cake jumping on platforms. Now it's time for the lightning round. Okay, lightning round, here we go. Scarlet EX, March 3rd, already sold. Huge fan of the source material. The eating begins in summer. Not sure anything about that. Reanimal, February 13th, might be interesting. WWE 2K26. Next, also March 13th. Last year's was decent. Hope they can make this one too. Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown, February 18th. Low key excited for this one. I will likely get it when I have the money. Disney Dreamlight Valley coming to Switch 2 March 25th, featuring Aladdin, Encanto, Monsters Incorporated, and more. PGA 2K25, February 6th, tomorrow. Ooh. Here's hoping they can keep up that quality. They're good golf sims despite monetization being almost as pricey as playing the game for real. Cold Step begins July 16th, curious. Goat Simulator 3, April 1st, fitting April Fool's Day release. Shadow Tactics Blade of the Shogun, March 18th, sounds familiar. It should be a decent strategy game. And lastly, Tales of Arise on May 22nd. So I only hope that this Tales game goes over well on the system. Now, one of the safest picks I had, Resident Evil 9 Requiem, details aplenty, with more to come fairly soon. There's no demo date or date for native ports of the remakes on the system yet, but both the Leon and Grey storylines have me hyped, as do they can play editions of the things getting native ports, as in not cloud versions, on the same day this game launches. As I am not sure what system we'll get it on yet. I definitely want to at least try a demonstration of it before I actually opt in the game itself, meaning as I did before. Like usually I don't get them right at launch because of wait for updates to drop. Most of them is replaying and the remakes, as well as getting further in 7 Biohazard. I'm replaying 8 Village. So this is easily one of the most anticipated games that's not Pokemon Generation 10 or Grand Theft Auto 6 this year. Count on that. So let's wrap this up. Okay, so to close out, we have more Bethesda games coming to Nintendo consoles, courtesy of Todd Howard, and the many others. So Fallout 4 anniversary on February 24th, just in time for the conclusion of the second season of the hit show on Prime. Even with this remastering work, I maintain as a whole it's worth playing, even though I don't put it on the same level as 3 or New Vegas as Fallout games go. Indiana Jones: The Great Circle, which is coming on May 12th, so now Nintendo fans get to enjoy the game that functionally acts as the 6th movie, taking place chronologically between Raiders of the Lost Ark and my post-review installment, Lost Crusade. And last, but certainly not least, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and Remastered, coming this year, and if memory serves right, this would technically mark the 25th anniversary of the original game, so to speak. And while maybe not the direct we were all expecting, it still has lots of stuff I am definitely interested in trying in some capacity. Even stuff I'm not terribly into, I'll imagine will find some audience. Anyway, that'll be all for now, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.